Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, man shot by police during alleged confrontation in Old Harbor. A man was shot by the police during an alleged confrontation in Old Harbor, St. Catherine last night. The incident occurred around 11:50 p.m. in the Grover district of Gutters. According to the police, a team was conducting an operation when a confrontation occurred between a 42-year-old man and the officers, during which the man was shot. He was taken to the Spanish Town Hospital, where he was admitted. The Independent Commission of Investigations has been notified and has since launched a probe into the incident. 56-year-old St. Catherine man found guilty of rape of underage girl. A 56-year-old St. Catherine man was on Thursday found guilty of the rape of an underage girl. He was remanded by Justice Dale Palmer for sentencing on October 31 in the St. Catherine Circuit Court. The matter, which was tried over 2 weeks, saw the jury return a 5-1 verdict on count 1 and a unanimous guilty verdict on count 2. He was charged with 2 counts of rape. The Crown led evidence that the man committed the offenses against the 11-year-old complainant in January 2022 and again in June 2023. A report was made to the Police Center for Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse, which resulted in his arrest and charge. Judge voices frustration over delays in Kahal Yahweh trial. The trial of 16 members of the Kahal Yahweh religious sect was again stalled on Wednesday as the prosecution's key witness, the investigating officer, was unable to attend court to give testimony. The development drew sharp criticism from Judge Keisha Grant Price, who expressed dissatisfaction over the ongoing postponement. During proceedings at the St. James Parish Court, Judge Grant Price reminded all parties that the court had initially scheduled July 29 and 30 to hearing the investigating officer's evidence, anticipating that this would mark the conclusion of the prosecution's case. The judge questioned how after 2 scheduled dates the matter was still unresolved, emphasizing that the original understanding was to hear the officer's evidence on the first day and begin the no-case submission on the next. She acknowledged that the current prosecutor had recently taken over the case, but made it clear the delays were unacceptable. Representing the defendants, Peter Champagne, King's Counsel, challenged the prosecution's request for another postponement. He pointed to a statement from the investigating officer dated July 7, 2023, which he suggested could be admitted without requiring the officer's physical appearance in court. At one instance, the court was advised that the investigating officer had a medical issue and that was why he was not available. It was against that background, as well as taking into consideration other factors, why the defense indicated today that they have no difficulty with the statement being agreed upon, Champagne said. He added that, based on how the evidence had unfolded, he did not believe the investigating officer's attendance simply to point out someone and to say, for example, "This is the person I arrested," would have any real impact on the case. He argued that at such a later stage, for the Crown to now question whether identification was an issue, despite having conduct of the matter all along, and choosing to call the officer based on the response received, amounted to an abuse of the process in terms of time. Judge Grant Price acknowledged the Crown's position, stating the Crown has called several witnesses and has on its list of witnesses the investigating officer. The officer, I am assuming, is going to tie up and make this entire case make a little more sense. She added, "How will this witness advance the case? I am not sure, but I am not going to fetter the prosecution because that is not my role. But I hasten to say, prosecution, this is not good. This is disappointing at least." It was further revealed that the investigating officer, currently based outside St. James, has several upcoming medical appointments and will soon be taking leave. Bail for all 16 accused were extended until November 20. The defendants, Christopher Anderson, Omar Thompson, Javon Thompson, Nikisha Harding, Derek Clark, Rona Lee Maitland, Elisa Medley, Fabian Nelson, Francine Paris, Jordan Spence, Jose Foskin, Oral Spence, Rayan Littman, Ingrid Williams, Vera Woolery, and Melisha Thompson are facing charges under the Child Care and Protection Act and the Education Act. The charges stem from a police operation conducted on June 7, 2023 at the Kahal Yahweh compound in Paradise, Norwood, St. James, during which the authorities rescued 23 children and placed them in state care. Less than a month later, on June 30, law enforcement officials returned to the property, resulting in the arrest and the formal charging of 16 individuals connected to the controversial religious group. In 2019, Kahal Yahweh was thrust into the spotlight after 6 children, including a pregnant 16-year-old, were removed from the same premises. The St. Mary Police says it has smashed the lottery scamming ring operating in the parish following the arrest of 7 suspects over the last week. The 7 individuals have been arrested for possession of identity information, a major offense commonly linked to lottery scamming. Superintendent Anthony Wallace, commanding officer for the St. Mary Division, said law enforcement remains committed to dismantling criminal enterprises and protecting members of the public. He added that the arrests have already put a significant dent in the funding of criminal networks, disrupting their ability to finance other illegal activities, recruit vulnerable individuals, and destabilize communities. The police say investigations into these cases are continuing and additional operations are expected in the coming days. Russian man fined $2 million for Palisados crash that killed 4 people. The Russian national who caused the deaths of 4 people in a December 2022 car crash along the Palisados main road in Kingston has been given 7 days to pay $2 million in fines or serve at least 3 months in prison. Alexei Zaystev, 53, was fined on Thursday by Justice Leighton Pusey in the Home Circuit Court after pleading guilty to 4 counts of causing death by dangerous driving. On December 11, 2022, a motor vehicle driven by Zaystev collided with a taxi in which 2 men and 2 women were traveling. Rose Roberts Banton, 54, Zachary Heslop, 18, Delroy Grant and Camille Grant, both 53 years old, all of Seaview Gardens in Kingston, died as a result of the injuries they sustained in the crash. Zaystev was fined $500,000 in each count, amounting to a total of $2 million to be paid within 1 week. In his plea for leniency, Zaystev's attorney, King's Counsel Peter Champagny, asked the judge to take into account several mitigating factors that some of the victims' relatives had expressed a desire not to see Zaystev imprisoned. He also noted that civil proceedings had been initiated and that Zaystev's insurance company had indicated a willingness to settle any claims for compensation. Mr. Champagny also emphasized that Zaystev had no previous convictions and had shown genuine remorse for the loss of lives. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.